Programming for you this afternoon in Washington, D.C., Vice President J.D. Vance will give an update on the Trump administration's crackdown on fraud across the country. Minnesota has been a major hotbed for fraud, as you know. And a new report by the state's Fraud Prevention and Oversight Committee is blaming the Walz administration for the problem. And it reads, "It is clear that the breadth and depth of fraud in Minnesota is much worse than anyone thought possible and stretches across multiple agencies in the Walz administration." The latest example from Minnesota, a massive food stamp fraud scheme. Prosecutors say a man used other people's EBT cards to purchase food items from chain stores and then turn around and sell them from his own store. Wow. The county attorney's office, who is prosecuting the case, wrote to Fox News, SNAP is a program meant to help low-income Minnesotans pay for their groceries. It literally puts food on the table. Mr. Muhammad's theft of these resources was deliberate and is absolutely unacceptable. We will hold him accountable and seek to recover funds. All of that a quote. Charles.
You know, call me cynical, right? Here's my thing. I grew up in Army bases and my parents divorced. And so I came up to Harlem in the 1970s, early 70s, most violent, poorest, dangerous neighborhood in America. And first time I saw people, you know, on food stamps and welfare and you know, what they call, you know, benefits, right? And after a while of hearing people like all the different little loopholes of being able to get extra and do this and get that, I came to the conclusion it's deliberately designed this way. Because as long as you have people getting welfare, getting food stamps, you know, relying on the government, and even if there's little loopholes for them to get extra, they're going to be less likely to try to get off of that and get onto the income, the ladder of real success. That's a way of keeping power over them. I hate to say it, but a lot of these loopholes, like this scam, we've seen this scam a million times. They can't fix this. They can't fix all these loopholes and scams. I think they deliberately put them in place to keep people on these programs.
Yeah, and that helps to control a segment of the population.
Absolutely. You've got their control. That means you keep their vote. You keep them where they are. You know, it's just, this is the conclusion I came to a long time ago.
And they scare them by saying, if we're not in office, well, that will
someone's going to take
away.
this from you.
Yep. My mom used to say, if you allow someone to always feed you, they can and will often starve you. Yeah, that's the threat.
Well, there used to be some more unity in some of these reforms as well. I mean, I used to work for, or I worked for former Governor Tommy Thompson of Wisconsin, who I worked for him on a Senate campaign. And while he was governor, he was the one that led the charge on welfare reform and work requirements. And he always said that he wanted to give people a hand up, not a handout. And the Bill Clinton admitted that he stole the idea from Tommy Thompson in Wisconsin. You know, what we're doing here is these programs are supposed to be compassionate, to help the needy, but compassion requires accountability. And to Charles' point, that accountability keeps being rejected from the left, and they keep fighting it. And we saw that even more recently with the big, beautiful bill and trying to put work requirements and, you know, changes in there. And the Democrats fought ruthlessly against it, or even against DOGE. I mean, they lit Tesla stations on fire across the country to go after Elon Musk. And, you know, the left purports to care about working class Americans, but then they allow the stealing to take place, stealing that money away from those most needy and those most in need, which are the people who would ultimately, you know, get the benefits from some of these programs. So, you know, to your point, Charles, yeah, it does seem to be intentional from the left to not do anything about it and to allow it to happen.
God, I hear you say that, and for some reason, the Save America Act pops into my head about accountability.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, no, that's an excellent parallel, actually. You know, this empathy framing, I think at a certain point, it's meant to distract from due diligence. If we've learned anything from the past year of fraud galore, it's that if the government is subsidizing it, somebody is robbing it blind. And the underreported part of the food stamp situation specifically, we've heard about Medicaid, we've heard about autism therapy in Minnesota, is that this has been going on for decades. And it's maybe a less interesting part because it's so enormous. This program has expanded dramatically in decades. It has eaten up such a big part of our budget. And there's a really serious fiscal moral hazard embedded in food stamps, which is that the federal government completely funds it. So the incentive structure is completely missing for states. They're not paying for it, so they don't have to ensure that there's accountability or that it's going to the right recipients. They don't care. They can pretend that they are dumping welfare and dumping benefits on their people, but it's all funded by the federal taxpayer. So that's the key, is removing that incentive structure.
Well, and when you don't have that incentive to create more of a safety net, what happens when the government shuts down? Oh, I think we know, because Democrats keep doing that.
Right.
Well, and to that point, the digitization of EBT in particular was a massive mistake. And if we were serious about reform, we would start there. I mean, this sort of fraud, especially with EBT and SNAP benefits, happens on a much smaller scale than this on a nearly daily basis. But the fact that it is happening on such a large scale, just wide out in the open, look, my message to Republicans, make the midterms about this. There is nothing that enrages the average American more than knowing that they are being forced to pay into a system that they will probably never get to use themselves, just so that criminals can make a profit off of it. And what enrages them even more is knowing that none of the Democratic politicians actually care about it. And to Charles and Lisa's point, the purpose of a system is what it does. The money is going to exactly the right places, according to Democrats. It's just not going to any of us. It's going into the pockets of Democrats, their career criminals, illegal aliens, and all of their niche leftist activist organizations that then get a kickback from it. So, again, I'm glad that J.D. Vance is on top of it with this task force. I think they're going to uncover a whole lot more, and I think it ought to be in every single advertisement this November.
There you go. All right. Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube, and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.